Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Weather with Jonathan here, and I'm back with another video. In this video, we're going to be talking about the potential for a severe weather outbreak in the south, and the potential for a major tornado outbreak in the south is definitely possible, and the potential for a snowstorm in the upper Midwest. And yep, that's pretty much that. So let's take a look at our current weather. You can see we have that system right out here near to the east of the Four Corners region. That's going to be causing our severe weather, and that is, yeah, so that's our system. That's going to be causing that potential tornado outbreak down here in the south. Now, we do have some rumbles of thunder that do seem possible up here for Oregon and Washington. Now, I don't see too much of a threat, but yeah. So then we do have a couple little thunderstorms moving across Ohio, well, specifically northwestern Ohio, northern Indiana, and northeastern Illinois. So that's pretty much your current weather hazards. Your current weather. Now let's take a look at our current weather hazards. We have those winter storm warnings in the West Coast. That's the pink you see. And then the winter weather advisories for anywhere in the purple you see. Now, we do have quite a bit of red flag warnings, wind advisories, and high wind warnings for the eastern Four Corners region. And that's because of some elevated fire risk. Now we have a bunch of flood watches along the western Mississippi Valley region and the Ohio River Valley region, and then a little winter weather advisory in northern Maine. So let's take a deep dive into our severe weather. So this is tomorrow at 2 o'clock. This is when we could have the storms firing up along the dry line down here in Oklahoma and Texas. We're not gonna see a severe weather threat for western Texas, just so you guys know. And yes, we will have a severe weather threat eventually in the overnight hours for eastern Texas. Now, watch what happens with the dew points. They interact with the storms interact with quite a bit of dew points. Now, look what happens tomorrow. We get quite some rich moisture down here in this little area. And wow, that is some pretty rich moisture. And you guys probably know what we get when we get moisture. We probably are going to get some discrete supercells or supercells. So, discrete supercells are possible with strong tornadoes, potentially even a little long track are definitely not out of the question, but we still are a little too far out because to predict, oh, we're going to have strong, violent, long track tornadoes. We'll definitely have a couple strong tornadoes possible, but does not mean we will have them. So let's take a look at our wind shear. Now, where I think we have the best potential for those tornadoes to start forming is probably going to be in about that circle you can see, because we really have that wind shear. That's the winds roaring in the atmosphere to try and create rotation. That is a lot. That's about 50 to 70 knots. And that now listen, these are going to be some very bad storms. I think we'll have our most active weather period will be, I predict, from 4 to about 7 o'clock p.m. Now this is I believe over there, so it'll be a little different of a time where I live, because I do not live in the south. But anyways, so yeah, that's a lot of wind shear, and it's gonna be favorable for many tornadoes. And of course, I have to bring in our significant tornado parameter when it is showing the potential for some strong tornadoes, or some very high probabilities of tornadoes. Now listen, I kind of think this model is underestimating this a little bit. Now listen, don't get me wrong. If the Storm Prediction Center notes that, well, we're gonna have strong tornadoes possible, then you guys probably think we'll have higher potential for the significant tornado parameter. I think the highest we'll have by tomorrow in the model's outlook will be a 10. I personally think I think this model's underestimating it. So now let's go ahead and track this out with me. You can see we have some rumbles of thunder up here in Missouri and Illinois. Now watch what happens with this warm air advection. So watch what happens. You can see we have some big time supercells that start to form in southwestern Oklahoma. Those are going to be a big hail producer. Now we have some severe thunderstorms try to form into a little line there in Texas. That's going to fizzle out and just become mainly some rain showers. But watch what happens as we get out into Friday. You can see, wow, yes, we have some morning rain showers, maybe even some rumbles of thunder. Now watch what happens with these supercells when they interact with that wind shear and those dew points and that cape or their energy. Now, listen, I personally think our biggest potential for tornadoes is going to be probably about in here, because that is what's really like concerning. And what's really, really concerning is that these supercells have curvature in them, which means they're interacting with the right ingredients to produce tornadoes. So now let's take a look at our SPC outlooks. This is our day one outlook. We have a marginal risk in effect for portions of southeastern Iowa, northeastern Missouri, central and northern Illinois, and northern Indiana. I would expect this to get extended into northwestern Ohio just because of the thunderstorm development there. But that's where I would expect the risk to eventually be later this evening. Now, as we head out in tomorrow, we have a pretty big slight risk. I'm not saying it's big, but it is big. It's going to include south and central Texas all the way up through south and central Oklahoma. Now, in this circle, you guys probably know, like I just said, storms are going to be very big hail producers. Well, look at our hail outlook. Wow, that is a big, severe weather hail outlook. So this is a SIG with a 15% chance, a significant percent chance of hail, and we could have hail, gorilla hail, over 2 inches in diameter. Now, our biggest hail will probably be over south and central Oklahoma, and central and southern Texas. Now, watch what happens with our severe weather. It just ramps up. We've got a marginal risk for today, then a slight risk for tomorrow, and then an enhanced risk for day 3. Now, listen, later, eventually, listen, now this is just a prediction. I think we could see a little bit of an extension to the enhanced risk all the way up, definitely including Memphis, and there's a little bit of talk, we could potentially have a moderate risk in place by the time this event comes. And guys, you know why I think we could have a 15% chance if we get a moderate risk with a SIG? Well, we already have a 10% SIG, and you know how I know that? Strong tornadoes have been noted in the Storm Prediction Center's outlook. It says supercell thunderstorms capable of all severe hazards, including strong tornadoes, are possible across the lower Mississippi Valley on Friday. So this is going to be a very bad event. I really think there's a potential for a moderate risk later in the future. I think this will be introduced potentially tomorrow, but more likely on day 1 or maybe day 2. So we really got to watch out, even if you live in the dark green, because you guys are still going to get some really heavy rain, especially across the circle I'm about to show you. So, you guys, anywhere in this circle, you guys are going to see some pretty pretty severe flash flooding, and we have a moderate risk of flash flooding in place, so you guys got to be aware. So thank you guys for coming and watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you for coming and watching the video. I'll see you in my next video.